Good day, people. It's your boy Swan Belcher, and I got my friend, my girl, Andrel Harris with me. Okay, we're right here in the same market in Greensboro, North Carolina. And today I want to break down her story about how she got into real estate. Okay, how she's maximizing real estate and what her plans are now. Now, best believe, anytime I bring somebody on the show, okay, they have been vetted. So I want you to reach out to them, do business with them, and learn from them so we can all learn, earn, and grow together. Okay, now welcome my sister Andrel.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Introduce yourself, my sister.
So hey everybody, my name is Andrea Harris. Located here in Greensboro, from a small town, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and decided to kind of move away to make some things happen, and now we're here.
And that's what's up. The 252.
252.
Yeah.
That's so funny because you're
from Plymouth. Yeah, I'm from Plymouth, and I didn't even know. My mom told me. My mom was like, "Yo, you know she's from down the way."
Wow. That's so funny because Plymouth in Elizabeth City is like how far?
It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like we're both from small town.
Oh, super. Like Plymouth is like 2 stoplights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plymouth is like 2 stoplights.
Elizabeth City is about 10.
What made you move from Elizabeth City to Greensboro? Did you move here first?
I did. So when I actually moved from Elizabeth City, my intentions were to come here to go to cosmetology school because I wanted to own a salon.
Yeah.
So a salon type spa type thing. And so I wanted to move away because one, there were no opportunities, as you know, in 252. So I wanted to, first chance I can get, move here. And it just so happened that one of my relatives was here. They went to A&T, and I was like, okay, well, let me go to Greensboro and see what I can become. And that's what really started the journey. So when I got here, she had the research for me for the schools, and I was like, okay, well, let me go to the cosmetology school, but first I need a job. You know, I need some kind of income coming in while I'm trying to pursue this dream. And so I had another relative that was a supervisor over at this call center. At the time, it was a call center for UPS. And she was just like, I'm gonna get you in the door because I'm a supervisor here.
Yeah.
And she did. That was my first job working at a call center. I was, ecstatic because I'm like, we didn't have that in Elizabeth City. We didn't have those types of jobs. So to be making what I was making at the time, I thought it was good.
And what were you making?
It wasn't. I can't even remember, to be honest. Probably like 8 or 9 something.
Yeah,
$9
an hour.
Yeah, maybe 10, somewhere around there. And so I was just like, this is good. I'm sitting down. I have my own cubicle. I just thought it was the best thing. I was designing my little cubicle, and so that was the first thing. So now, by me having that experience with the call center, that job ended. And then I was on to the next call center that was paying a little bit more money. Okay. So now I'm in like the repetitive call center type thing.
Like, was it like American Express next?
Let me see. The first job, there was like UPS call center. No, it was like something else that was called Info, NXX or something. Yeah. So I worked there, and then from there, it was American Express.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved that.
Yeah. It got good there. Yeah, it
got good.
Yeah, that's what's up. So from that job, what did you learn, from those, from working in a call center, from seeing how they structure, that you actually still use today? Or did you not learn anything that you brought over?
Customer service, I would take that away. My biggest takeaway by being in customer service, I understand now the customer service aspect of things. A lot of businesses, or owners, some of them have good customer service and some of them do not. Yeah. So by me being in that industry, knowing how to provide, what we call effective communication, following up, emails, things of that nature, making sure nobody's left out, and just knowing how to speak with people. You got to speak a certain type of way. So I definitely picked that up, and also the operating procedures, how the business ran.
Nice. The operating
which a lot of people say
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. See, she's not even looking like she's from 252 right now. I'm loving it. And just to give you guys a little context, okay? And when I was growing up in Plymouth, it was, they would go. I remember they would pick my uncles up, on a truck, and they would go to work.
In the field?
Like.
Oh, where would they go?
I don't know where
Everywhere.
they would go to work, but they were in a little white truck. Everybody jump on the truck, and they go to work all in one truck.
Right.
And they come back dirty.
Yes.
And when they came back, they would get on the porch and they would, drink.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the day.
That was the day.
That was the day.
They did something similar in Elizabeth City too.
Yeah, and
they
so
were working the field.
And so I'm loving the conversation right now. I'm loving it. So you get to Greensboro.
Yes.
What's next?
And so the first thing is when I actually went over to American Express. Of course, at this time as soon as I walked in the door with American Express, the change in the pay won. Yeah. Because when I walked in, I got interviewed, and they were like, "Hey, you applied for customer service, but we have a customer service sales position. Which one do you want?" This was in the interview. Okay. And so I was like, "Well, which one pays more?" And they was like, "Well, sales pays more." I was like, "Well, that's where I want to go." And she handed me a pencil, and she was like, "Sell me this pencil." Okay. So that was like my first entry into some type of sales. Yeah. Understanding rapport. Yeah. Which we use a lot now.
For sure.
So I definitely picked that up. And so I sold her on the pencil, and she was like, "You got the job." And so at that point, I came in because they did the exact same thing as customer service, but they couldn't upsell. Yeah. Right. And so I was like, okay, that's the position I want to be in. So being in American Express, I was starting out at that time very well. I was making $50,000 back then, and I thought I was doing something with a $50,000 salary way back then. So I'm just like, now I'm comfortable because remember, my dream was to come here and go to cosmetology school. Yeah. Right? So then I got into, I'm making this money. Now I'm living out my dream. So now that's on the back burner. You got comfortable. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I had already, now let me back up. I did go to school, right? I did go to school prior to me starting American Express. I finished school, but I never went to the board to take my exam because I was comfortable making the money that I was making. Yeah. And so, American Express taught me a lot about the finances, financial industry, seeing how the credit card game worked, the balance transfers, the this and that, the points. And, I was working with the points and all of that. So I learned all of those things. And then one of the things that began to happen is that in 2008, the market crashed, right? For sure. I had just built a home that year. And American Express, I started there around 2000, I don't know, so much ago, 4 maybe. And so what ended up happening is they end up shutting down. We never seen it coming. Wow. So another thing that I learned was there's no job security in corporate America.
Oh, everybody's self-employed, huh?
That was it. We didn't see it coming. It's a Fortune 500 company. Yeah. We didn't see it coming. So then we're just like, what do we do now? I had just built a house. Market's going down. Yeah. Market's crashing. So my house was already underwater at that point. And so everything.
Did you finish construction?
Yeah, everything was finished. I had closed in January 2008. Yeah. And so soon after that, the market started going down. Companies start doing, fancy words like we're resizing, and then all of a sudden everybody's just gone. So, it was like a learning lesson for me because now I'm like, there's no job security. Wow. So the first thing I end up doing when that happened, I was like, okay, this is it for me. Let me go get my license at this point. So I had already been out of school for a while. I went to get my license.
Your cosmetology license.
Right, from the board at that point because I'm like, there's no job security. This is not going to happen again. Yeah. And so I went to the board after being out of school so long, passed it on the first try. And I was like, yes, now I'm going, now I have something that I can fall back on and this is never going to happen again. Yeah. So I believe that we go through things at the time. I'm looking at it like, what's going on? This is not fair. Yeah. Life is attacking me, but the whole time it was prepping me for the next day.
That's what's up. Moving towards a shift.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. So you got your house now. Mm-hmm. Okay. You passed the bar. and you got your cosmetology license. What's next?
So after that, I was like, now I'm in a position to where my mortgage is the same amount. One. Yeah. The income wasn't coming in. That's another thing.
The income wasn't coming in?
The income wasn't because the job was gone. So I'm used to that $50,000. I still have the same mortgage amount, same bills. Yeah. And when I purchased my house, I purchased it with all the furniture, everything on store credit because my credit was good. Yeah. They was like, you have 2 years to pay it off, no interest and none of that, no payments. Yeah. I was like, okay. So I furnished it, but my intentions were to pay it, to pay it down with the money that I was making, but I was counting money I didn't have yet.
For sure.
So the job went away, and this is still out there. This furniture debt, and so what began to happen was I ended up securing another job. Now I was making half that amount.
Oh, man.
Okay, so now I still had the same bills, had a job that was paying less, but I still had some income. So at this point, now those furniture bills become due in addition to everything else.
For sure.
Mortgage and all of this. So then Obama had this thing, Obama something that helped people with foreclosures at the time, or prevent foreclosures.
Yeah.
So I contacted the bank and I said, hey, can you guys assist me with lowering my mortgage?
Yeah.
You know what they told me? No.
No.
They said that the type of loan that I had as a first-time home buyer, I didn't qualify for that type of program.
Wow.
And I was like, well, is there any type of help I can get? And they was like, well, Ms. Harris, we see that you're paying your bills every month on time. You're paying your mortgage every month, which I was.
Yeah.
I had enough to pay everybody else. I didn't have enough to pay me.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I made sure everybody got paid when they were supposed to. Mortgage, credit cards, everything. And so at the end of the month, I didn't have anything. So at that point, I was living paycheck to paycheck. Everything I was making was going to them.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm in this cycle, and I'm just like, I cannot continue to be in this, this paycheck to paycheck cycle. And so after that,
it's okay. It's okay.
So after that, I was just like, I have to try to do something. So me consulting with my aunt, she was just like, well, if you miss a payment, get in the bank's face, then maybe they can help you lower your mortgage. So I'm like, okay. I was like, I'll try that.
How did that work out?
It didn't work. Okay, so I took the money that I had for the mortgage and I took it out of the bank and I put it into my drawer. Okay. And so then I called them and I was like, well, hey, I can't make a payment, in hopes that they would try to do something, And then they were like, well, you have to be 3 months behind, and I'm just like,
oh wow.
So and then what also started happening is, because remember my credit was good, so now my credit was taking a hit because I missed the mortgage on purpose to try to get the loans.
For sure, taking advice from Auntie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that wasn't good. And so when I saw the late fees accumulating and the credit score getting dinged, I was like, forget this. I took the money out the drawer. I said, here you go, and I paid it. So during this time, I'm still trying to adjust with my lifestyle. I was still used to traveling. I was still used to shopping.
Yeah.
I was still used to doing all of these things. And so I depleted my 401k that I had with the company. I had it, out there. I went through that just to kind of stay afloat. I was putting food and gas on the credit cards because I couldn't handle paying everything at that time. So during this journey, I was just like, you know what? I am going to change my financial situation around because I don't like this feeling.
Nice.
I was traveling here and there, everywhere, and people on the internet was looking at me like, she's doing it. She's
looking up towards you, right? Because we're coming from the 252,
yes.
right? And we're doing something better, right?
Yes, it was bad.
What was the solution though? Like, what did you say? Hey, I know I need to make a change. I need to make a financial shift. Because this is in the middle of the housing crash.
Right.
So like, what's the shift?
So the shift for me was this particular year, I was in California. I was in Puerto Rico. I was in Atlanta. And so what I realized is that when I came back home from those trips, that this great cloud was still over my head. I still had this debt. I still had this cycle living paycheck to paycheck. So it was like I was tripping.
Yeah.
Literally. And I was like, this is not a good feeling. Like, I can go away to escape these things, but when I come back, I still have to face reality.
For
right?
Sure.
So when I got back from one trip in Atlanta, it was like an awakening of some sort. I was just like, you know what? We have to do something to change this situation. So the first thing I did was pull my debt, which was the furniture. I didn't shop or splurge on credit. I was never that type of person. But I was like, let me take a look at my numbers. I have to face that. Once I saw that, I was like, now I have to get in a position to where I have to change my situation around. So I have to do whatever I have to do. So once I saw that, I said, now I need you to cut back every single thing possible. Yeah. So I cut back, get my nails done, cut back, cable at the time. I was like, the cable has to go. Contact the car insurance company. Hey, can I get a lower rate? So I cut back as much as I possibly could.
Nice.
And after that, I was like, you know what? Now we have to bring in more money. So I had my license, and I was like, let me go into the job part-time just to get some extra money so I can have some type of cushion to pay this debt down.
Did you go work for someone, or did you start doing your own thing, or?
1099, so I was under the salon, but I was working as an independent contractor. So I went to the salon, and right after work at the time, and I would just go to the salon. But I was like, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? You're not gonna go shopping, and you're not gonna go shopping for a whole year. That's what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
Like nothing, you can't go shopping. So what I decided to do was post it on Facebook, because I recall this girl told me, she said,
why did you post it on Facebook?
Accountability.
Yeah.
1, and 2, just to show people what I've learned, what I went through. I didn't have an emergency savings account.
Yeah.
I was living paycheck to paycheck. And it was one person in particular, I'm going to tell you why I did post it, because when I came back from my last trip, I saw her in the store, and she looked at me. She was like, I want to be like you because you're doing it.
Oh, man.
And when she told me that, it struck a nerve, because I'm
Pressure.
like, I am not doing it the way you think I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So now let me get my house in order, because I can't worry about what you're thinking. I have to get my financial house in order.
Right.
And so I put a timer on Facebook, 365 days, and said I'm not doing any shopping. I had shoes to run over. I was working at the salon. I had holes in my shoes.
Yeah.
Literally. Like they could tell you. And I was like, I'm not shopping. All this money has to go to pay down my debt.
Amen.
And all this money has to go to, put myself in a better financial position. I have to get my emergency savings and all of these things. So I'm counting this down on Facebook while I'm educating people.
Yeah.
The importance of having a backup plan, your emergency funds, watching your credit, don't count money that you don't have. So all of that I experienced, I'm now teaching. And I started teaching others how to be financially responsible.
Yeah.
To the point where I would take phone calls and teach them about credit and finances, and then did my own university off of that. It spun off into that.
Nice. So I love it. I'm loving it. See, because one thing that we didn't do when we were younger is when somebody had a hardship or they had a success at the family reunion, they wouldn't share it.
They wouldn't talk about it.
It was like something that people should keep secret or under the table. So
they never talked about it.
I love that you just put it out there for people to hold you accountable and, to help other people, to learn from what you were going through.
And as I opened up with other people, they were just like inboxing me, people that I never would have thought. I wasn't even making 6 figures and coaching somebody that made 6 figures in DC on the phone. And they was like, I went to school to be major in finance, but I'm having this trouble. Can you help me?
Yeah.
And so I would start to do that to the point to where I started doing speaking engagements, talking about finances. People hired me to come and, talk to them. I created my university back then doing courses, financial literacy. And so that became my thing.
Nice.
So I became a certified financial educator. And that's the road that I was, going down. And so at the end of that 365 days, I'll never forget, I posted on the internet and I was like, today is the day. But they saw me counting down.
Right.
And so when that time came, they were just like, I remember you saying you were going to do it, and you did it. And that one post had ended up going on Instagram. It went viral. And this influencer on Instagram reposted it. Yeah. And it went viral. So when that happened, Forbes had reached out to me, and they was we want to hear your story about how you were able to do this fast and clear all of your debt.
Nice.
So now, that happened. I was like, oh my God. So the lady, Mary, whatever her name was, she had reached out, and she was like, we're going to ask you some questions, and we're going to, get your story on how you was able to do this. So I was like, just think, if I never did different, I would have never had that feature in Forbes.
Right.
Now in this age, people could pay for, features and things like that. And I'm like, I don't pay for no feature. They came to me. They not knocking it, but they saw what I did in order to create a change, and they wanted to know how I was able to do that.
Man, that's dope.
I was just like, this is amazing. And then from there started to trend other people like, well, I'm gonna do a fast and I'm gonna do a 365.
Well, let me ask you this about the Forbes feature. Mm-hmm. Okay, what did that do for because at this point you're teaching, right? You're creating some kind of personal brand.
Yes.
What did that interview do for you and your personal brand wise? Did it
help?
It
was amazing. Yes, I just saw so many people sharing it. It was just like a great feeling. I remember one girl actually sought me out. Well, actually, 2 different people had sought me out after they read the article. And one of the girls had said, hey, I was looking for you. And then she took a picture and found me on Instagram, and she had me on her vision board. I was like, I know somebody's vision board. Oh my God. So she was like, every time I feel like giving up, I read your story. Yeah. And, this is my motivation. And so for me, I was like, that's what it's about, this impact.
For sure.
And, showing people. And another girl, she was in New York, lady, I should say. She actually started me out after she read that. She ended up moving to Greensboro. We shared the same event together. And she was like, I can't even believe I'm sitting here with you, and all these things. So it really done a lot, because a lot of people is just like, you are inspiration, you giving me hope. Because a lot of time, especially within our community, we try to have this facade as though we have money, or we want to appear that we are something that we aren't.
Yeah.
And wealth doesn't necessarily look like that.
For sure. Let's talk about
So,
the money real quick. Okay. Was that your first course?
I did. Yeah, well, I was doing one-on-one coaching until it became overwhelming, and I'm like, I can't talk to everybody because I'm still, at the job, so I had to just create a course.
How much money did you make from that first course?
I honestly, I can't even remember what it was.
Put a dollar figure on it. If you had to guess.
I really, year-wise, or what like, how do we say it?
For the year, for 12 months.
I don't know. It probably would. I don't know. Probably like 20,000, maybe.
About $20,000. I love that. See, because I didn't understand courses. Because I launched my first course last year. And we made about $60,000 from our first course.
From the course.
And so I didn't understand it. But by far the easiest thing that I've done, okay, number one, to create a side income for myself, and number two, be able to free up time, because the calls take your time. The calls take your time.
Too much.
Are you still doing one-on-ones?
No.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is not the best use of my time. So let me just roll this course out here, and that would be that. So at the time, I was doing it for free in the beginning, because that's how much I love doing it. So then after that, I was just like, well, let me not. Okay. Let me just charge something. Yeah. And so I, created my signature course. I have promo videos I put money into. Yeah. Every time I drop something, I try to be, I try to do something different. So. Yeah. I
love it. When does real estate start coming into play? Right? You're helping people with financial literacy, because honestly, the ABCs is still something that everybody should get back to. Decreasing your debt, which is something I'm always looking at. And increasing income. Yeah, you got to look at increasing income. You can't just look at the debt.
You can't.
You can't just say, hey, I'm gonna save $20 a month. It doesn't work like that.
Absolutely.
At what point do you say, hey, I'm gonna get into real estate?
Okay, so when I picked up this second job in transition from the one that closed down to this one, remember driving to work. This was like 2009. I was driving to work, okay, and I'm listening to the radio. And the radio, there was this commercial. Yeah. Right? And the commercial's like, if you want to learn how to get into real estate with private money, give us a call. And I was like, okay, write down this number. And so after work, I remember calling. I was like, hey, I just heard you on a commercial, on the radio. Yeah. And he was like, well, young lady, if you're serious about your career and you want to get here, then you will pay the money to get here. Yeah. And it was like $97. It was in, what was this? Clemens, North Carolina.
Okay.
It's probably like an hour or so from here. Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do this. Okay.
Nice.
He wasn't African American. He was,
so
I was like, okay, I'm going. Okay, so at this time, I didn't have anyone with me of this mindset, right? So I'm just like, I'm gonna go to this because this is what
So you went by yourself?
I went by myself.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So when I got there, I got up early in the morning, took that road trip, and went down there and walked in the room. There was no melanated people in there. Like, they were all...
Did you walk out or you continue?
I could tell I'm in the right room. So I was like, I'm in the right room. So when I did that, I walked in confident. Yeah. Okay? I walked in confident. I had my notepad and pen. And I was like, I'm here to learn. Okay? So then when I went to sit down, they were middle-aged and older white people. Yeah. But they welcomed me.
More males or men or
it was
females?
A mixture of both.
Okay.
But they had real estate agents and people that was contractors, and I am just walking in like I just want to learn, right? Because I had this thing about real estate, but I failed to mention that prior to that, a couple years before I went to school to be a real estate agent, I stopped going because the instructor told us we didn't have to have a license in order to invest, and I stopped going. So my journey then was focused on financial literacy. And then when the opportunity presented itself again, I'm like, here's real estate. I'm hearing it again. Let me try to go and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So I failed to mention that. So the first thing was I always wanted to get into real estate, didn't know how to really get into it without becoming an agent.
Yeah.
And I went to a local college.
That's how most people try to jump in.
Right.
Yeah, that's the first thing people
so,
hit.
So that was my first thing. And then it fast forward to the opportunity of me going to actually learn. And so when I got there, he was talking about raising private money in real estate. That was the class. He gave us, a notebook and it had all these papers in there. And so it was over my head because I'm like, I don't really understand what he's doing. He's talking about raising money. I don't know people, And so at that point, he was, like I said, they were very welcoming. I still have a picture of us from that first meeting afterwards. And I went up to him and I was like, thank you. And he was like, you know what? You're going to be a millionaire. Yeah. And he told me, I was like, yes. And I was like, thank you. And so we took a picture, and that came with a consultation after the class. So everybody got to do like an hour with him.
Oh, nice.
And I went back with him.
That's a lot of value for $97.
Yes. At the time, he was an older guy, but he taught me. He was just like, hey, I'm going to give you a key to all the HUD houses in North Carolina. He said, now you get a copy of it. Yeah. And he said, you can go in any house out here. And he said, if they have a problem or if anybody asks you, you tell them you work for me. He said, but you have the option to do that.
Yeah.
You go look at any houses. And I was like, okay, cool. And so at the time, he also was molding me because he was just like, yeah, I'm also over the RIA. And I'm like, what is that?
Okay.
Or I go to the RIA. What is the RIA? So then he was like, well, it's the Real Estate Investors Association. It's here in Greensboro. You can go there. And I'm like, so again, here's my journey, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, now I know about RIA. So now it's 2010, and I get into the RIA. I met a guy that was there. I saw, this African American brother, and I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm a wholesaler. I was like, well, what is that?
Okay. Yeah.
And then that's what he told me. He was like, I get that. He gave me the short version of it. And I was like, wow, you didn't have to have a license? He was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I want to do.
Nice. Nice. So at this point, when you get to the RIA, okay, he tells you, what wholesaling is, finding motivated sellers, sell the contracts.
Right.
Okay. Do you go out and immediately start taking action?
Yep.
What did you do?
Fail. So I was like, okay, so that sounds easy enough. Like you just have somebody that's selling the house and you have somebody that wants to buy a house. You just put your fee in there.
Yeah.
So I had some agreements from somebody in there, so I took those agreements back to the house. And so at that point, I network heavy. So I'm in there in the RIA, continue to go, and I'm learning who the landlords are.
Yeah.
And then I met one guy there. He was a flipper, I guess his name was Chris. So I was just like, I like this. I like this environment. Yeah. So one day, Chris had decided to show another girl and I this house he's been working on, right? So I went there, we looked at it.
Is he a brother or is he other?
He's the other.
Okay.
And so Chris was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. So he showed us that one. And then a couple of a couple of days later, he's like, I have another one. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I saw that one. I said, ooh, this, he wasn't there. I just went in and looked around. I was like, oh, this looks good. Okay, now I know a landlord. So now I know Chris has this house, right? And so from what I understood, you just tell me your fee and you hook it up. So I was like, okay, this is going to work. So I went back, called my landlord, the landlord guy, because I know he's looking for a house. I said, I got a house for you. And he was like, you do? I was like, yeah. So I said, Chris, we come to look at your house. I got somebody that's going to buy it. So Chris was like, okay. So he's at the house. I come up. And then the landlord comes up.
Yeah.
So the landlord comes in and he's just walking around. And I'm like, so do you like it?
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, because it was in top shape.
Yeah. It was a nice
So yeah, so he was like,
it was ready to go.
Right.
He had already fixed it up.
Turkey.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, so, okay, you like it? So I didn't have a contract on me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, is the agreement going to be made? Like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Right, because this is the amount I want.
Let's figure this out together, y'all.
So
this.
At that point, I was like, are you going to let me know? He was like, yeah, I'll let you know. And then he ended up leaving. I don't know what happened, with the whole thing. And so from that point, I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it works. And so, and so I don't know if he went behind, I don't know if it even worked out. I don't even know the numbers. I don't know anything. So I'm just like, hey, I didn't get the money. So at that point, it was like back to focusing on financial literacy because I'm like the real estate. I clearly can't fit. I'm systematic.
Yeah.
I have to know A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You have to tell me in that way. I learned that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna pick it up.
Now, did you go get like some help to learn what the 1, 2, 3 was, or do you still just get back in and wing it?
So, divine timing, to be honest. So after that, of course, I couldn't figure it out. It was no YouTubes to try to figure things out back then, you know. Other than Nasser was on there at the time, and so he was fresh into it, and I was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I remember his YouTube videos.
Yeah, so that's how we connected back then, because I was started following him and things like that. So at this point, I was in and out of everything. I was in MLMs, in addition to the financial stuff, trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out.
Right? So when I was at work, my supervisor came and she was talking about Rich Dad Poor Dad, and she ended up telling us about it, and I got the book, and then I started reading that, programming my mind on how to do things. So it was very, or I'm gonna say, the timing of everything just fell together on this next part because I knew what I needed, and I knew I needed that systematic approach. And so what happened was somebody on Facebook that I met, it was a girl that I met, and she was like, hey, there's a Millionaire Mind Conference in Charlotte. I'm not going. I'm going to give you the ticket. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, again, here I go by myself, and I was like, I want to be in an atmosphere of people that's like-minded, that's getting, money. Right. And so I went to the event, and when I got to the event, when I first walked in again, majority of the room was not us.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could count the number of people.
Theme right now.
Common. And I was like, so now I'm looking at the people that's in the room. When I walked in, I was towards the back of the room, and it was like four guys, 4 black guys that were in the back of the room. They saw me walked in. One of them stood up and was like, you can sit here. Yeah. Okay, so when I sat there, I'm still learning. That was my first time hearing about tax liens in this environment. They started talking about all these things. So when we went to break, the gentlemen that were there, we started talking, and so I'm like, hey, what do you do? They was like, one of them, he was like, well, my name is Joe White, and I do real estate. I'm like, oh, you do real estate? He was like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, okay, I do real estate, I know a little bit of stuff. And so he was like, okay, I'm in Winston-Salem. I was like, okay, I'm in Greensboro. So we then formed a relationship to where it was business, right?
Yeah.
But so because I was in this MLM and I knew he was business minded, I was trying to recruit him.
For sure.
Like, Joe, I have this. He was like, Andrea, you are doing too much.
Right.
You need to focus on one thing to be successful, right? Yeah. And so for me, it was the financial piece. I was like, well, let me just put energy into this, right? But what began to happen, Joe told me that he did wholesaling real estate.
Yeah.
He had a course.
Yeah.
So this is how it started coming to me, right?
Yeah.
So I was still coaching my clients, and I would tell my clients, hey, I know my mentor, he has real estate. So if you're trying to get additional income, I'm going to refer you to Joe, to his course.
Amen.
And so what ended up happening is I provided Joe with so many clients, he gave me the course for free.
Nice.
So he was like, you brought so much value to my business, here's the course. And that was my systematic.
That's what's up. Is he still doing the business?
He do a lot of stuff, but Joe, he dabbles with it now, but he's like more. He does a whole bunch of big stuff.
It's a gateway. Yeah, wholesaling is a gateway to doing more business for sure. I love this.
Yes.
So
he was with Bob Proctor and all of them before he passed, and they did big things. But yeah.
I love it, man. That's what's up. You wasn't getting no affiliate commissions?
No, I just I did.
Did you know about it at that time?
He did end up starting paying me per person that came in.
Nice.
He did. He was like, I'm gonna give you $50 or something like that for every person that come in. Or something. And I was like, okay.
Bro, my world changed when I found out about affiliate.
I
said, bro, this is
I'm telling you.
If I had to redo it all over, affiliate, that's where it's at. If I'm gonna learn and affiliate is where it's at. So
that began to happen, and I looked in the course, but I wasn't focused on the course. I knew it worked. I referred multiple friends over, and I was like, hey, go. One of my friends, she had she was an agent, and I told her about wholesaling when she thought it was a scam at that time. I was like, no, you need to talk to my friend Joe.
Yeah.
And she did, because she had to hang her license for one reason. And she ended up making $9,000 that month.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, there
One of my other friends that came in, I told her, I said, contact Joe. He's going to show you. She ended up making $5,000.
Oh, there it is.
So here I am, providing value to him, they're closing
Everybody
deals.
else getting paid.
And I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting, because again, I'm like, I see it, but I'm still focused on this, right? So that's what it's going.
So, okay. So these guys is making this money. Okay. And I take it you're still at are you still, well,
No,
not
I was still at the second job.
You're still at the second job and you're doing cosmetology, right?
I was, part-time here and there throughout the weeks, and then doing my consulting.
And doing your consulting, okay. So, when do you do your first deal? Because in 2010 you met Joe.
Yes.
That's when it's starting to become more clear.
Yes.
When do you do your first deal?
2019.
2019. So between 2010 and 2000. And I want to focus on that because a lot of people think it's going to come quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people quit after 6 months,
right,
after a year. But this is a lifetime thing.
This
is a marathon.
You have to be focused on it.
You have to be. What kept you going from 2010 to 2019? What really said?
What was it?
Yeah. What was the like? I'm going to continue to try this.
So for me, what it was, I'm going to be honest. The financial checks were good, but at this time, real estate started to be more heavy out in the open. Yeah. Okay, so now people are starting to highlight, more education. And then I saw this one girl that had posted that she retired from real estate. I said, that did it. Okay, I said, because here I am still trying to. That's fine. Like, I still love the financial literacy, but those real estate checks, like, that's a big shift. So, the beginning of 2019, I was like, I'm gonna put this. This is what I did. I shifted my focus. I said, instead of me, because I was still. I
did you like cut it off?
I didn't cut it off. But I was, cause see, when I was doing financial consulting, I would go out and dibble and dabble with wholesaling. Like, I would go out a little bit, drive for dollars.
Yeah, you was like cheating on your girlfriend.
Right, and I was just like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I pick it up and play with it. And then I had one contract that I thought I was gonna get like $10,000 off of that never went through because she ended up going around. She went to somebody else, and I built a rapport. And I was just like, oh well. And I went back to the financial consulting. So what ended up happening is in 2019. So in 2017, I went through Joe's whole course or whatever, but then I wasn't really still focused on that. So then 2019 came. Max Maxwell was on the scene.
For sure.
And so one of my friends on the internet, he was like, you down there with Max Maxwell? I'm like, who? He was like, Max Maxwell. Who is Max Maxwell? And so I went on YouTube. Binge to watch Max Maxwell.
For sure.
Like, I literally watched all of the videos. And so at that point, I was like, okay, he's a cool guy. He's right here in Winston-Salem. So he came out with a 30-day wholesale challenge.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that was my thing to be like, okay, you know about wholesaling. You understand because you went through this course. But this is something that's to push you because it's a challenge at this point, right? So he laid out different things for us to do in that challenge. And so when I started, and I was like, I'm shifting my focus for 2019. I'm putting the real estate on the forefront, my consulting on the back burner, and I'm going full in at real estate.
Nice.
Because I know where my attention goes, it ain't got no choice but to give.
Amen. Right? Amen.
And from there, when I got started with that challenge, and I have it in his group, it took me 1 week to get a property and get under contract. 1 week.
Shout out to Max Maxwell. Shout out to Max Maxwell for that challenge. I remember that challenge when he did that. I thought that was brilliant. I was honestly afraid when he did the challenge because I was already doing deals.
Oh,
but I was really good at doing deals. We've always done like volume, so we always do 60, 100 deals a year. And so when he put out that challenge, I was just like, everybody's gonna know about the triad. Everybody's gonna come here. Everybody's gonna do deals.
Right.
So when he did that, it was hot because he was giving, direction. It wasn't a lot of fluff.
That's right.
It wasn't a lot of fluff, and I think it worked for a lot of people.
That's right.
Now, how much did you make on that first deal?
The first deal, I wanted to make $5,000.
Yeah.
But I ended up making $6,198.
$6,198. Why the change?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you about that. So. And just to backtrack a little bit with Max Maxwell, I actually ran into Max Maxwell, but he wasn't Max Maxwell.
For sure.
His name was something else. So before Max became who he was, he had like an app company. He was doing something like with an app or something. Yeah. And my guy Joe, that I was referring to, Joe had a think tank in Winston-Salem, and that was my first time seeing Max, but it wasn't Max. But he was pitching that, so he wasn't even who he was yet.
Right.
Okay, so I was like, but when I put two and two together, I was like, this the dude oh, that's the dude.
Yep,
But now he's doing this, right? And it's so crazy because when I was in the RIA over there, I forgot to say this too, Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you know him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tony
I was just
Robbins
with him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So he was over the RIA when I was there, and I was begging him to mentor me, but he couldn't because he was so busy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening is with this first deal, when I went out to get it, he had us driving for dollars on the weekend. We had to get 50 properties, so I was like, okay, I got my property. Well, actually, I failed to do it on one day, so I was like, I'm getting out here on Sunday. I'm making it happen, right? Because I'm not cheating myself. Like, I want this. And so I was driving, came across this property with a notice on the door, and I pulled over, and I saw it, and I was like, okay.
And the deal machine app?
No. It was just, I just ended up randomly just riding that day. But I did use Deal Machine, also. But I saw this notice on the door, and it was a checklist of things they had to correct because it was fired in there. And I was like, let me go call. Let me see.
How'd you get the number?
Free website. It was True People Search that I went to. And I put it in, and I contacted the guy. He was a brother, and I was like, hey, I came across this property, looks vacant. Are you interested in selling? He was like, well, if the number's right. And I was just like, okay, when can I see it? He said, you can see it today.
Oh,
that was on Monday. That was Martin Luther King Day. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll be right over. Yeah. And so I posted this on my social media too, like my first wholesale deal.
Yeah.
And I went over there again, confident, nervous, and I was like, this one, I'm just gonna, we're gonna do this. Right.
Let's go.
So before I got there, I did my due diligence on the property, try to figure out what the property would be worth and things like that. So I kind of know where I needed to be.
Let's slow down right here. Mm-hmm. Okay, you got the guy on the phone through True People Search.
Yes.
And did you get him on the first phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Was there like one number or 10 numbers?
I can't remember exactly. I just know it was a hit.
and you just went straight in for the jugger. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay. And you end up meeting them over there. What kind of due diligence? What did that look like when you say due diligence?
So what I did was I pulled up the address. I don't know if I was on Zillow or if I was on the other site Max gave us, Total Real Estate View or something like that, just to get like a general idea on what the property could be worth. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, boom, 70% of this, which is, that formula that he had is, all of this because I binge watched his channel, so now I'm putting all this stuff together. Yeah. Now I kind of know a ballpark figure on where I need to be going into the property.
Nice.
Okay. So now when I get over there, I'm like, just walking through, looking at everything, taking pictures, videos, and all that.
How was it meeting the guy for the first time? Like, did you tell him it was your first time?
No, I just walked on in. I was like, hey, can I take a look? And he was just explaining to me what happened. The back bedroom caught on fire, and all these things. And then he was starting to fix it up, but he was like, I'm just tired of it. My wife told me to get rid of it. At this point, we were tired of it. I was like, okay. So, and he's like, I had another investor over here that was trying to give me $27,000, and I wouldn't take it. But I knew that was still kind of good for what I wanted. And I was like, okay. So I was like, can we? Now I saw Max will try this. So he was locking up deals on the spot. So I had a contract. And I was like, so right now, he said, no, I don't operate like that. Yeah. He said, you're gonna have to, send me this so I can review it, and then I would get back to you. And I was like, but we still didn't talk any numbers. So then I went home and I was like, oh God, let me get the contract.
So you just sent him a contract with the number that you believe?
No. And what happened was he was like, I had a contract there, because I was like, because if we can lock something up now, I'll be willing to. And he was like, it doesn't work like that. And he was like, you send me he didn't even look at the contract. He's like, you send it to me first and let me review it. So I was like, okay. So I get home. And then I knew which number I had to be in, right? So at that point, I called him, and I was like, I know you said you wanted to be $27,000, but, can you meet me halfway between? And he was like, what, like $24,000, something he said, 23, 24. And I was like, yeah, that. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, I need a $500 earnest money deposit. And I'm like,
was you down or not?
No. I ended up calling Joe. I said, Joe, like, what do I do if he wants $500?
That's good.
Right? Like, Joe was like, well, see, what else he would take or whatever. So I called him back. I was like, hey, I can do you want to do 100? And he was like, I need to know this. You're for real. Yeah. I was like, well, I'm very serious, and this is gonna go through, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, I can do 100, right? Send over the agreement. He sent that agreement back with so many red marks on it and so many lines on it. I was like,
where'd you get the contract? You got the contract from Joe?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it was like, I was like, is this even going to go through? Because he marked through so much.
So what did you say to him? Like, did you change all of that stuff? Or you changed it?
I just let it be. Because I didn't really know. Like, I'm like, what do you do? Like, he marked out so much. But come to find out, he was an agent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He was an agent.
Yeah.
Real estate agent.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, why did he not sell his own house? Right?
Oh.
That was my question. Because you're an agent. Why not?
Right. Why not just list it? Did you ask him?
He said it was something with taxes or whatever the case was, or something with his wife. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But at the end of the day, I think it was all divine anyway. So whether you decided you wanted to or you didn't, it just fell in my lap. So, okay. So then I said, okay, well, we have this agreement. He came back. He signed it. I said, I'm going to put down 100. I said, but I am going to need to show my contractors, the property. So can I get the lock, the code for the lock box? And he was like, sure, I'll give you the code. And so he gave me the code. And then what ended up happening is, I don't know what conversation came up, but he came back. He's like, are you trying to wholesale my property?
What'd you say?
I said, yeah, but we're gonna get it done. I said, we're gonna get it taken care of. And so he was like, okay.
Okay, nice.
No. Before he said okay, he was like, I don't think this is gonna work. He said, I definitely don't think this is gonna work if you're trying to wholesale it.
Oh,
I said, no, we're gonna close it.
Nice.
Like, this is gonna get done.
That didn't discourage you or anything?
No, I was like, no, we're gonna get this done.
Yeah.
Because I already know the numbers were good anyway. Yeah. And so I was like, no, we're gonna get this done. So again, this all happened within a week's time frame. So that Friday, I put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I did an open house style thing. Yeah. And so I had some people come out, and the first guy that came, he said, I want it. Yeah. He was like, I want it. I was like, well, how much can you put down? He's like, $500. Okay, boom. That's gonna cover the 100 that he wants. So I got the 500 on the spot, had the agreement on the spot, had signed it up. That was Saturday. That Sunday, it went into the attorney.
Nice.
$5,000 on paper is what my fee was going to be.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Where did extra money come from?
Good question. So, this is what happened. I sent it into an attorney here. Yeah. And if you don't know, bad attorneys can cost you.
For sure.
So I sent it into an attorney.
All the time.
Sent it into an attorney. And he was so excited because he wanted this property to live in. Okay? So he was anxious. Yeah. And so he's like, well, when are we closing? He was Hispanic, so I tried to be very thorough. Yeah. Like, okay, we have to do title search and all of these things. She gave me one date that the title was supposed to be back. The title didn't come back.
Oh, I know who you used.
So he started coming back like, what's going on with the title? Yeah. And then I asked again, hey, what's going on? We're still waiting. Okay, but I need an answer. So then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back.
Oh, I know who you used.
So I kept telling him,
she had somebody else doing the title search?
It was.
She hired out?
It was messy.
Yep.
All I know, it was a whole mess. Yeah. And so he was getting so anxious and frustrated to the point where he was just like, I need to know who the attorney is that you use. I said, well, I'm going to give you the attorney's information. So he, he contacted the attorney, and I guess she didn't call him back or something, so now it's looking real scary.
I was right. It was a she. I know exactly who you're talking about.
So it was looking real skamish at this point. And so what he did was he went out to get an agent, a real estate agent. Oh, wow. Who was, Hispanic. Yeah. She reviewed the agreement, the assignment agreement, and she told him it was fraud and it was illegal, and you can't do that. Like the form is illegal.
Get out of here.
And I'm like, what in the world? So he called. He's like, I don't know what you had me signing. This is illegal. This is fraud. Your attorney's fraud, and we need to use my own attorney. And at this point, I'm like, what is going on? So now the seller is like, what's going on? Because I'm confident. I'm like, we're gonna close this deal. Yeah. And so he was like, what's going on? I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, the person that was supposed to be closing gave us a crazy date, and she didn't live up to the date, right? Yeah. So he was like, the guy. I said, who's the agent you're talking to? Can we get a call with her together? Yeah. So we got on a conference call, and she got on.
The seller was willing to get on the call?
No, not the seller. Oh. The agent that my buyer had.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Right. And so me and her, we was on the phone. She's like, I don't know what you had him signing, but this is illegal. That's not a purchase contract. I don't know what you're doing, and this is illegal. And if you can't use the attorney that he's recommended, then he's not going to go through with the deal. And I'm just like, well, we can try to use the attorney that he has, if you guys are not comfortable with this attorney. And so what happened was, she's like, yeah, because I use this attorney. So I'm willing to, at this point, this is my first deal. I'm like, let me try to push it.
Right.
So I end up calling her attorney. Do you guys handle assignment contracts? No, we do not. Now I'm looking like a fraud for real because I'm like,
for sure,
they can't handle the transaction that we're trying to do, sir.
Right.
Now it's not looking good.
Yeah.
So he's like, I really want the house, but this is not working, and this is a scam, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, well, we can get it closed. It's just going to take some additional time with this attorney.
Yeah.
Okay? And so his $500 was still there.
Yeah.
Now,
at the attorney's office.
At the attorney's office in
well,
escrow.
Well,
so I'm like, you're going to forfeit this if you can't go through with it. And so he ended up washing his hands.
Did he?
He washed his
hands. He backed out of it?
He backed out.
Get out of here.
He backed out. And so I had the $500 still there. And so immediately I went back on Facebook, put it back up there again. Did the same thing the next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Had another open house come out. They came out flooded. And so this one family came out and they were just like, I want it. This person over here, they was like, they want it, right? So I knew I had something going. And she pulled me to the side.
You had a good deal.
I had a good deal.
You had a good deal.
And so she was just like, please let me get it because somebody outbidded me on another property.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll give you whatever that number. I don't have it in front of me. But she's like, I'll give you this. She offered to give me over asking.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
over
well,
asking.
how much can you put down?
Yeah.
So we could do $500. And so I was like, okay, cool. So she gave me, we wrote it up at that time. She said, don't show nobody else. Don't show nobody else. And I was like, it's a deal.
Now, just so we know, okay, is she Hispanic?
She's Hispanic.
She's Hispanic. Okay, cool. And there's a method to my madness because there's, number one, the business, like we said, there's definitely a lot of the other in the business.
Absolutely.
They majority rule.
They do.
Okay, so it's very intimidating to get in certain rooms.
Yep.
Okay, and then you go and meet some brothers who are actually doing the business that are willing to teach. And and of course you feel more connected there. But then on the other side, when you go to sell them, there's the Hispanics.
Right.
The Hispanics.
That's right.
They buy.
It.
But you either have to know the language, you have to know Spanish, or you have to have somebody that's there to kind of help you, to make them feel comfortable because they don't trust. They don't trust. And that's definitely like a serious thing. It
was crazy.
Yeah. Now, what did you learn from that first deal, and what did you change?
So, and to close that out, that's how it ended up being over the $5,000 I wanted. So the deal fell apart.
Yeah.
And what I wanted and came back together better. Because, I only wanted $5,000 for my first deal, but then I was like, ooh, she's asking over. So it came out to be $6,000. It would have been more, but I told her I would cover the closing costs.
Nice.
Just to finish it. Because I already had the $500 from him. So I could have added that to my total.
Nice.
But,
and there's no need to be greedy.
It was cool. Yeah. And I felt very good about it. They wanted to move into the property, fix it up. They saw past the, the burnt room and everything. And I was excited. And so then they were talking, my father wants one. And so now it's, like a domino effect. And so for me, I was just like, I had to, from that point on, it just taught me to be persistent in those deals. One, find a better attorney, vet those attorneys out because they can cost you.
For sure.
So that was the end of that relationship.
For sure.
With that attorney. And I was just like, okay, find better attorneys. Make sure you're very thorough, what needs to happen. And then just see the deal all the way through because, you never know what can happen. So that was the first deal.
You can get it there. That's cool that you were open to telling the seller that you were wholesaling it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because some people believe that just because the seller know that we're going to make money, that they believe that for whatever reason, they're not going to be okay with the deal.
I was honest.
Yeah.
He was a little worried, but I was confident. Once I knew the deal, I was like, this is going to work.
I love it.
It was very, very, very good deal. Again, for me to get my first deal, like when I focused on it, literally had it locked up in a week, but it fell apart. And then it came back together the following week and I ended up closing weeks after that because she was still doing some crazy things. But Since then, what's been your largest deal since you've done since then? My largest wholesale deal was $30,000.
$30,000. Okay, I love that. That's good.
Yep.
Now, what you doing with that money?
I bought some properties. Took the active income and put it into the pastor place.
I love it. That's what's up. That's what you're supposed to do with it.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people, especially on the first big one, I know I did it. My first $20,000 check, I don't even know what I spent it on.
But let me tell you this though.
Yeah.
What people don't know right now. Some people might not know right now. I still work for corporate America.
Oh, you still work a job?
Yeah.
Nice. That's what's up.
But this is my last year, so I'm retiring. I have a hard stop date on August 8th.
Amen. See, what I like about you is you set a goal, right? Yep. You set a goal and you stick to it. Okay? Right. And then you also put it out there for people to hold you accountable. Absolutely. Because you already know will be holding you accountable.
That's it. Yeah. So for me, I knew with corporate, so now I understand my journey because I now have become the person that I was looking for in corporate America. Yeah. Okay, so now it's like now you know what it takes to retire from corporate America, help and reach other people that's in corporate America that need to break free and get on this journey. So now what I'm doing now is starting a documentary so they can see me doing my day job, what I'm doing after work, and how I'm putting place in to retire myself through real estate.
Oh, look, this is awesome. That's dope. I didn't even know that. Okay, I didn't even know that. I love it. People don't know. And because you go hard. You know, you're in the rooms, you know, you're with the right people. Like you said, you like to surround yourself with good people. So, you know, that's dope. So 19, okay, is 2022. Mm-hmm. You still working 9 to 5. Yep. How many properties are you holding? Okay, because I know we all talk about wholesaling. Yeah, you know, and that's good. That's good. But I really like to own. I like to control. I like ownership. Cash flow. It's ownership. Know, how many properties have you picked up? I have 6 now. You got 6?
Yeah,
I love it.
I got 6 now, and I have one that I'm working on this week to lock up another one to hold.
Amen.
And so my thing was, and this is what I tell, because I'm transparent about my numbers in my community. So I showed them like my deals that I make with wholesaling. But the thing is, I'm living off of one income. Yeah. Right? So that's my corporate income. So everything that I'm making part-time, and if I'm able to build 6 figures on a part-time basis with real estate, I know I can do it full-time, right? Yeah. So that wasn't my mindset because I legit make more money on real estate part-time than I do on my corporate job. Yep. Okay. Yep.
6 figures. I love it. I love it. That's what's up. I love it.
So now I'm doing all of this around 9 to 5, right? So so what I want to tell people is that when I'm actually doing this, I have a goal, right? I have that goal on what it's going to take. So some people, there are different types of people. You have some people that would have got their first check and like, I'm out, right? Because I know I can do this, and that's fine. And so my thing was, I could have quit, a long time ago. Once I got the 30,000 deal, I could have quit a long time ago. But instead, what I decided to do, because I know active income and passive income is 2 different things.
It's way 2 different things.
I know that I can get off of corporate America and continue to work actively and be in this linear cycle of continue to have to work for $1. It's just a higher paying job. Yeah. Agreed. So my focus shifted because I can actively work. Yes, I know that. But my thing is, when I get off corporate America, I want every single bill paid for about property. Nice. Okay? So nice. I was focused on my passive income amounts total versus my active income amount total.
Oh, that's what's up.
So that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I would have quit. Yeah, you can. But I know, it's no doubt in my mind, I'm going to get off and I'm going to run it all day.
Now, how many do you think it's going to take you? How many houses?
For my properties, it's already covered.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so that's why. So that's why I said my properties are already covered. They cover now every single bill that I have.
That's dope.
So now when I launch off of corporate America, I don't have to be like, oh my God, I got to go get this deal now. I have to hustle mode because I have this mortgage coming. Amen. Right? I have my properties now covering every single thing. My truck note, house payment, all of that.
Nice everything truck, is covered, by the way.
Right?
Nice truck. I like the truck.
And so that was my focus on building that passive play because to me, time is more valuable than money. We can't get any more time back. We can get more money, right?
For sure.
And so for me, the best use of my time is not going to get out here chasing these deals. It's going to, be putting my money in position to work for me and free up some time that I can really do whatever I want to do. And so that's what I'm doing.
All right, so I'm gonna finish off here, okay? Mm-hmm. So your goal is to leave your job this year, okay? You have funds that can, you got rental properties that can cover your money.
Yep, already.
What are you planning on doing when you leave your job?
So when I'm leaving my job, my plan is to again build out the business on the wholesaling part, but I'm gonna be in a position to where I'm coaching now. Yeah. I want to coach like I said, becoming the person that I wanted to be when I wanted to leave corporate America, right? The people that's tired of asking for PTO. Right?
Yes.
So I'm really digging deep on those triggers. the ones that, you know, that have a problem, but they want to see a way out. Maybe they have a 6-figure corporate job or whatever the case may be. But my focus is getting them to that point to where they don't need corporate America and then launch off.
Nice. Helping them become the person that they want to become. Yes. That's my thing. Be, do, have.
Okay.
And you know, thanks for sharing mine, Myron Golden.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, I didn't even realize. You know, I've been saying be, do, have since the car dealership, and that's his thing.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, I'm taking the challenge, by the way.
Yeah, it's a very good challenge. So he helped me, you know, think about some things that I can do with the people that I'm gonna be coaching because
that's what's up.
It's really good.
Well, look, I want to make sure that we help you and we help the people that are listening. If you could tell everybody where they can find you and how they can connect with you, that'll be great. So that way we can help people.
Yeah, so for sure, I'm on all platforms under Andrel Harris. So that's AndrelHaris across the board. That's
what's up. And we'll make sure we drop the link below so that way it's easy to get to. And until then, okay, this is my girl Andrea. I'm your host, Sawan Belcher. This is us taking action. Have an amazing day.